got invited to a pot race, a street race pot race. So there's 10 cars from the Metroplex area coming. It's a $120 buy-in, $100 to the pot, and $20 per person to security. There's going to be some pretty fast cars there. I think we can maybe get in there and go a round or two. We don't have a lot of testing on the street with a new combination. I've been out messing around last night and just making some hits. I seen about 13 pounds of boost on the street, just rolling, no dead stop stuff. And the car is pulling really hard. It wants a lot more fuel, about 4,500 and 100 to 150 kPa. It wants the same amount of fuel that it wanted at like 6,200 kPa before the heads and cam swap. So we're making a lot more power a lot sooner. And I don't know how that's going to work out on the street. We haven't put the car on the trans brake to see, you know, how much fuel we need there. I basically just got some cruise stuff and like maybe 13 pounds dialed in for fuel so far. So we still need to put it on the trans brake, make sure everything's cool there, and probably go over here to our road and maybe make a hit or two. And we'll turn the shocks way down, probably like 4 clicks in the front. We'll leave the back 10 all around, or on both. And on the rebound and the compression, we'll put 4 clicks of rebound in the front. That should get us up quick, and the compression will hold us there. I think the compression are at 10 on the front. And I'm hoping that'll get us down the road. And once I get the trans brake stuff dialed in, we'll come back and look at the tune-up of what we think will go down the road. We're going to test on an asphalt because that's all we have here, but they're talking about a bare concrete road, which will probably take a little more than our asphalt road. But first round will be nutty anyway, so we'll just go in there with our asphalt tune-up, maybe a little bit hotter, and see how that works out. And if it works out, then we could probably turn it up a little more, depending on if we go another round. So let me get this thing dialed up for trans brake, and then beforehand we'll go over and look over the logs and see what we think is going to work out. So we took the car out down to the asphalt road, and well, beforehand I had just trans braked it here and got it 10 pounds dialed in. That's normally what we leave on, between 8 and 10 pounds at the track. So I had cleaned up the tune there, and it was making boost just fine, getting on the rev limiter, everything was working. So we took it down to the asphalt road, and it was late Friday, just after dark, probably about 6:37. So we couldn't get a lot of hits in. It was kind of busy down there, and we made about 3 hits, and it just blew the tires off completely. It wouldn't launch, but I would ride it out and just check everything, and it was shifting and everything was working out. So we decided that we would just turn it down. It's not going to take 10 pounds. It's not going to take 8. We put it down to about 5 pounds, and we put the front shocks on about 3 clicks of rebound and left everything the same. And so we loaded it up and took it to the race that way. And I'll show you what happens first round, and then we'll look over the logs. Alright, for that race, our shining star was going to be traction control. That's the first pass on this whole setup, the first full pass. You can see that the car, he was late. I don't know if he was ready. He said he was just trying to make a pass, basically the same as us. We just wanted to make a pass too. And that was on 175 kPa total, which is about, let's look at our log, max 13.4 pounds of boost. Is the right one? Yeah. And that was a 120 kPa launch. And we have a little bit of a timed retard, and this is really for denting, for wheelies. I don't think it had a big impact here. Here's our traction control reactions. They're the same as they always are. The only things we really did was we still left on 4,500 and 120 kPa, which was about, here we can see 5.5 pounds. And then we we didn't have any kind of boost rent. We just let it go straight to 13. And so here's our launch, and then the red line is our timed retard after launch. So that's when we let go of the trans brake. And the green is its throttle position. You can see I had to pedal it a little bit out there. And this is not what we want to see. Let me change a couple of things around real quick. Sorry. Get our BSS down here. So it's to put our traction control stuff here. And let's see, what do we need? I think that'll do. So the white one's going to be our rear wheel speed, and the pink one is going to be our front wheel speed, and the yellow is going to be our slip time for our traction reactions. Now the yellow up here in the top one is our spark. You can see here this big bite. This is our timed retard after launch to help keep our wheelies down. And then what you see, instead of a smooth line, you see this yellow reacting to the timing here. This is the traction control kicking in, which you can see there's the rear wheel spinning a little bit here. The traction control kicks in, brings it under control, and then they kind of get together here. They're not perfectly together, but they're close enough to get down the street. And this is kind of a mess. Here's the shift, and then here's where we rode out the rest of it on. And this is making 11 pounds. And that was enough to get us into round 2. I don't think without traction control getting in there and doing its thing, we definitely wouldn't have made it this far. And so for round 2, we didn't change anything. We're like, man, round 1 worked out pretty good. We didn't totally screw it up, so let's just leave everything. I wanted to tighten the shocks up a little bit, but Chris said, let's just leave it how it is. And just go try it out round 2 and see what happens. Really, we're just testing the car at this point. We haven't made any hits down the road other than trying to do the stuff on the asphalt road to blow the tires off. So we didn't really know what to expect. So we just left it the same and went with it. Alright, so this race was a kind of crazy race. I don't know if you saw the other car. He rode up on the curb and raced down the curb. He rode, his passenger side wheels were on the curb. I don't know how far down he rode, but he didn't let out. He didn't let out until he realized he was on the curb when he came off of the curb. It was a pretty close race. I remember looking over and seeing his car next to mine for a while, thinking, is he going to be, what's going to happen here? And eventually, I think he went up on the curb and came down and realized it and let out. The same thing, we didn't change any settings. We left the front shocks at 3. And then we left on, looks like, maybe nearly 6 pounds. And then we had the same timed retard bite in here. And this time I stayed in the gas a little better. And this made 12.7 pounds of boost. And we shifted there at 59.87. So we're not pulling very much RPM. This new cam should pull at 7,500. And we normally were shifting the old cam at 6,500. So we got a ways to go there. And you can see traction control came in here again. Right here, the white, we had a little bit of spin. Traction control catches us up, and it's happy here for just a little bit, and then the rear starts spinning again. You can kind of hear it if you listen close in the video. You can hear the tires they're not just completely roasting, they're just kind of squealing against the pavement, and that's the traction control holding it. And so let's see how far out we are. About 3.3 seconds out. We're finally good and rolling in high gear. And we wind up making 12.7 pounds of boost. And it's riding. And that tune looks pretty good there in high gear. If we could get that launch down a little better, I think we could do quite a bit better. Looks like about a 6-second run, maybe a 6 flat there when I let off. From the time to the trans brake to the time I let off the gas. See what the mile an hour on that dude was. Probably about 120, yeah. The front gear, front wheels, about 120 mile an hour. Not bad for the second round. So the third round, we left everything the same as well. And they put us in the right lane, and we knew right away, like right when I got there, I knew the right lane was not as good as the left lane. You could just look at it and tell. But it wouldn't have mattered. That truck that we raced, if we done the same thing, you know, we got the traction control, looks just as bad as our previous two races here. The truck would have left on us like that, no matter what lane he was in, right or left, and I don't think... the truck was out on us probably 2 cars, maybe 3. In high gear, I couldn't put any ground on him. You know, we're still running at 12.7 pounds, 59.86. Nearly looks identical to the last run. Let me see, is this the last run? Oh, surely not. Let me go and double check. 2. Oh shit, this is the last run. So you can see that the round 3 run looks almost identical to the round 2 run. We got about the same amount of traction control reaction happening. And then it's still 12.7 pounds of boost. Even in the right lane, I don't think we would have done any different against a truck. The truck leaves hard, and this is where he's putting the gap on us right here in this slip time. If we could get that sorted out, maybe leave on a little better boost, I think we could sit with him. Or if we could get, you know, a little more boost further out. You know, we ran 30 pounds last year. If we could hold that in high gear, we could have probably ran him down pretty easy. But anyhow, overall, we had a freaking awesome time. Definitely go back and do that some more with those guys. They were all good dudes, and they had some nice cars, fast stuff on the street. So it was a lot of fun. I'm thinking maybe we can tighten up our front shocks and put some of our weight back in the back of the car and get it to leave a little harder and stay out of the traction control reactions and do a little better. Anyhow, like and subscribe and check back later.